Okay, this is the dream, right? Like how you wanted to spend your Saturday morning, right? When you are like thinking about going to America, and some of you are like thinking about like what you're gonna do in the weekend or like Saturday morning, and you're like, I'm gonna wake up and fight discrimination, you know?
What a beautiful life we are living, actually. I think,
Li-
yeah, starting the day thinking about like, hey, what I'm gonna do after 60 days is like, it's a very interesting way to live, and not having surety of your land, especially with the land and the community you have been a part of for like 10 years, 20 years. It's really living like an alien in the world,
right.
because the place where you are living doesn't accept you, and that's, for a lot of people, this is the only place they know, so it's very interesting.
Right, yeah. Very a little different than what we imagined
Yeah,
before
yeah.
coming here. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining. Welcome to this is kind of like the second episode of the weekly live streaming I started. I don't have the name set in stone yet, but I'm thinking about unfiltered immigration because we are doing this live. So if you have any interesting name, let us know. Otherwise, yeah, today the main topic I wanted to talk about is that a lot of people I have been traveling, like I traveled to all the 50 states, and in the 50 states, I met few people who are in the backlog. And one of the things they say that they want to do advocacy consistently, but if they focus too much on, then it's like they get very stressed thinking about it, that how wrong it is, you know. So that's something we wanted to address, that how we do it while how we stay sane while we consistently advocating. So yeah, I invited Atal to join because you probably already know Atal. Atal is someone who is like consistently advocating. If I see him, I think that out of 24 hours, he's like advocating 25 hours because he's like always like posting some interesting things and fostering conversation around this issue. So he's very consistent. So I wanted to have him join and have this conversation, that how we do it. So there are few things we also going to cover. That Atal got the chance to go to DC recently to attend Tech Immigration Summit. So how was his experience on that? Then we're going to talk about this thing, that how to stay sane while we consistently advocate for the change or advocating for awareness. And then I have some updates related to the bill, which I'm going to share. So, anyways, yeah, welcome, Atal. Anything
um,
you
no,
wanted to? Mhm.
thank you for having me here, and I'm thinking this more of a conversation between both of us, though we get to connect from time to time over phone calls. But I think this is another way for us to just like sync up on different things as we are advocating.
Mhm.
Now, I think to your point about me advocating 25 hours out of 24 hours, I think it's kind of true. It's kind of true because this topic is on my mind,
Mhm.
and I mean, just being honest about it, I have realized that I do have a little bit of ADHD in life, and
Mhm.
I get extremely obsessed about few things, especially when they are wrong, and I just keep putting all my energy into it because I'm like, there's got to be a better way. This is not right. Because I think what I'm getting challenged here with this cause is my whole thinking of one world and one consciousness, where we are all together in this and everyone is equal and everyone should have like the same access to opportunities, and America and India are the same, and everything is like, we are just together. I think my thinking is taking a hit. I
Mhm.
think that's like a hit on my pillar of life, and getting hit on a pillar of life is never easy, because then you are like, should I think another way? Should I just like not believe in this? Was I cheated in the way I think? And that's like the biggest challenge of feeling discrimination, where you are like, no, but I always believed all human beings are the same. I always believed, not that I always l- was from my birth very much from my birth I was probably non-discriminatory,
Mhm.
but through my learning through adulthood, I probably developed some kind of judgment about different people and being very honest about it. But then
Mhm.
once I got into the face, like I'm like actually challenging myself and my thinking, And I'm like, no, discriminations are not good, because today I'm in one place and tomorrow I'm going to be on the other side. So discriminations are not good in any case.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I have been thinking and building my new thinking about one world and one consciousness and everyone together. But then I go through this issue where I'm feeling discriminated, and I'm like, well, did I just think about the world wrong? What really happened? And I feel like that hit is what you see in my voice on Twitter and everywhere, where I'm like, no, this is not right. This just does not feel right. Like, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. Because if my thinking is wrong, then I gotta correct my thinking. But if my thinking is right about the world as one consciousness, then this should not happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what gives me all my momentum and all my energy that's going towards this cause. It's, yeah, it's definitely very interesting how much this cause impacts me personally. um, it does impact in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it definitely does, right? And it's this is kind of like a discrimination with US standard, US laws, right? That if the two people based on their like either gender or like religion or like their national origin, if two people has a different opportunity based on these things, then it's a discrimination by United States law. So there is like no doubt on if it is discrimination or not, because we our growth is restricted
Yeah.
based on where we are born, right? So I'm with you. I just want to go back right now
Mm.
to get started with this, like your experience to going to DC, and you have like a great story just to like going to the summit itself, right? That you got sponsored right away, so there were like a lot of people supporting this cause. So you wanna tell if like there will be like many people who know this story, but if they don't, like how what made you inspired to go to the summit and how it happened.
Definitely. So, I think my mind is very much a mind of a doer than a talker. And as much as possible, I like to do. And I learn from doing. That's just like how my life has been, where you can tell me, like, hey, this is the way to do. And I was be like, okay, actually,
Mm-hmm.
let's do it and see if it
Right.
actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So, the same thing about advocacy. I can like do a ton of Twitter advocacy and bring people together, but in the end it comes down to showing up on the ground and creating momentum about the cause. So I think once I started getting into this issue last year, I did my first visit last I think it was in December with Ivy team, where I went to DC and I
Mm-hmm.
got to meet
Yeah.
people in the Congress. To me, this is very much a curiosity too, where I'm like, I want to learn actually how things are passed in the US, how bills are formed. And to me, it's like, okay, let's learn how this works. So that's why I went to with Ivy in December, where I got to meet a lot of people there and understand how these things are passed and how these bills come forward. And just like how since then I have been, I think my visit with Ivy was an eye opener for me to actually understand how much impact this actually creates in the life of people. you
Mm-hmm.
know when I was in the early stages, I actually didn't think it was that big of an issue, and I just thought I am the only one facing it.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that, okay, maybe, I will just leave and just figure out, I'm the only one facing it. It's okay, this is just how the world is. uh but I didn't know how many more people were facing it, and once the numbers started coming to me, then I started realizing the big impact it is causing. If you have 1.8 million people who are going through this problem, it's a big number.
Yeah.
And when I met people who were kids during my visit with IV, I was like, I was hearing the story of this kid. He's from Minnesota and he plays like ice hockey for the college team. Very smart, very great guy. He was there and he's like 17, and he was there because he's like, I just want to let everyone know that 2 years ago, I got to know that I am not an American.
Mm-hmm.
And until then, I just like grew up with all the other kids. just like as an American, and I look up to the American flag and everything. And only 2 years ago, I realized that I'm not an American.
Mhm.
And now learned that I have to leave the country and I cannot live in my own country. And when I heard the story of this kid, I just put myself in his shoes. And I just thought, how wrong is this? Where someone who puts their entire life for a nation, who plays for the nation, who looks up to the flag of that nation,
Mhm.
who does not know another nation other than America, is going through this tragedy where their own nation is not accepting them. And in that moment, I realized like, I do have a home. I can go back to India and try to build my life from scratch again. And there is nothing wrong because I know people and I'm connected. But for this kid who moved here as a 6 months old kid,
Wow.
now 17, going to be 21, cannot live in this country, there is no home. There is no another home. Because home, the belonging and the love and everything comes actually from your place of residence and the people you grow up with, the climate and the culture. So he doesn't have another place to call as home, and this person is not accepted by their current home. And I was like, irrespective of where I'm on the part of the world, having this kind of tragedy is just not acceptable. And since that day, I felt like it might look like I'm fighting for myself. I'm actually fighting for that kid who is going through the worst human tragedy on the planet, getting his whole human rights violated without doing anything wrong, like just following the same laws of a country which have been created by the country itself. So that's what changed a lot of my perception. And yeah, so that was my visit to DC with IV. Then I have been just getting more and more momentum about advocacy and sharing how I feel about it and looking at it from different perspective and lenses. And yes, I went to Austin to meet you to at your
Yeah.
50th
Mhm.
state. And then I was like, okay, I gotta show up because you are doing great work and you have been such a strong advocate, showing through your actions actually. Because it's very easy to talk. I love doers, and you are like a big doer in this cause where you actually fulfill what you say. So when I went to Austin, I was like, it's great to meet with you and get connected with other like-minded people.
Mhm.
And then when someone said, hey, you should go to this event in DC on Twitter, I
Yeah.
was like, well, I don't have a lot of money to be able to spend on this. And I just said that, hey, I would be open. And that's where I was like overwhelmed with support from people who were like, hey, I will cover the expenses if you want to go. And the number of people who said they will cover the expenses, I was like so shocked. And then Raj messaged me personally that, hey, if you really want to go, I'm happy to just like cover all your expenses. And I was like, wow,
Mhm.
then I should actually take the opportunity to be able to create more momentum, share my story, whichever way I can contribute. And I think I had a great time going to DC, meeting with some other organizations this time, understanding about what how they look at the cause and all. So I feel like so it was a very fruitful visit, and I'm happy to talk more about it too.
Yeah, so it's great. Yeah, so it was great to have you in Austin. You were like the one of someone who traveled farthest from. So it was in Austin, and you flew from San Francisco, and it was great to have you there. You brought a lot of energy, and it was like people who joined were excited to meet you as well. So it was great meeting you there. But then it was like this event was like right after that, right? That, and we found out at last moment, like within a week or two. So it was kind of challenging. So we appreciate Raj Karnataka as well to sponsoring this. That a lot of people who wants to go to this event and represent us. Uh, they don't have time, but he was like, okay, if I don't have the time, I can like enable someone to go there and represent us. So and even like when you find this kind of like sponsorship, still it's like you have to find the time, right? So you found the time. You probably had to take days off from your job and all that, so you did that, went to that event, and you also got to share your story which was great. So, which I think we saw. You wanna tell about that? Uh, how was the experience sharing? I guess that whatever you said was impromptu, right?
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
now I think what also advantage of doing this advocacy is like I don't have to think two times. It's just
Okay.
thoughts go
Yeah.
through
Uh-huh.
me because
Mhm.
I'm like I am not fighting for something which I don't believe in. So it's just everything that comes through my mind I'm able to share. So what really happened on the event is I just got to know the time and I just got a confirmation a couple of days before that. So at the event there were a few people from Congress who showed up and who kind of gave their speeches about what they're working on and what they believe in and all. It's good to hear perspective from people who are actually lawmakers there. So definitely good to actually get connected to them. I also got to talk to them after the event here and there to actually hear from them. During the event, when they saw me there, and I definitely had a lot of passion, they asked me like if you want to give a testimony, and I was like, sure, I would love to just like talk about it. They gave me like 2 minutes, and I was definitely very passionate about it, and I felt like my future is kind of at stake here, and whenever I get a chance I share my story because I feel this is wrong and I just have all the passion. And I have so much respect for America as a nation over all these years on how this nation has like grew up by the American forefathers. And then I see this discrimination, and I mean this is just not how America should accept this. This is not acceptable in America. So that's where my advocacy comes in, and so I got to share my story. It's very interesting as we are mobilizing more and more people towards this cause. One thing I'm realizing is the generation of Indians that came before us, they actually have no clue about this problem.
Mhm.
People who got green cards like 10 years before us, they're like, hey, I already have a green card, what are you talking about? Like, I also went through a couple of years of wait and all. I mean, they don't understand the gravity of the situation of 100 plus years of wait, and how
Mhm. Yeah.
also I feel when they came to America, probably India was still in the early stages of growth, and India was just like getting a little ahead. While so for them it was like, hey, let's escape India.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah.
came to America and they were like, wow, I got a green card in 2 years, what a beautiful life. The situation with me is like I was living a great life in India,
Mhm.
and I was very happy living in India, and my goal of coming to America is just about exploring another civilization and learning from this civilization, and just like see how life flows. So it was not about settling anywhere, it was about just like learning about better ways to live. So um, when I saw this happening, where I went to the event and I got to connect with a lot of people, I was like, okay, these people are passionate about it, but a lot of Indians do not even know about it.
Mhm.
And there were some people who have been advocating for the last 5 to 10 years, and they were like kind of hopeless, but they still show up. So there were some people from that time too. But when I talk to these people who moved 20 years ago, they just do not get it. And it's very hard to explain to them. Being born in a place during my time, I just know what I lost. And maybe that's why I have so much passion. While for other people, it was like probably easy life coming to America, and they don't get what you lose after if you don't have a green card, especially the restriction, not on your body but on your mind. The restriction on
Mhm.
your mind, the baggage on your mind is very very high. So yeah, I think it was good, just like connecting with people, sharing my story. People said, hey, we need someone like your energy actually to be advocating about this cause. It's funny, when one of the congressmen was leaving, I was like outside the door, I'm like, do you know my life is getting impacted by this right now? Like, do you get it? He's
Mhm.
like, yes. So I'm like, what do you suggest me? Should I go back to India?
Mhm.
And they're like, no, you continue. We are figuring it out. Continues. I'm like, this is where the problem starts, where the ownership is not there, but there is that thing that, hey, we have hope. And I think a lot of people who moved 20 years ago, they also have been just going through this journey of 20 years and with expecting something to change, but nothing has changed. I also got to meet a mother who kind of deeply touched me. She said she heard my speech and she came to me, thank you for speaking it. And she said, I came on an H4 visa and it has been a curse on our family. We had a good life in India, and first of all, I had a hard time finding job and able to work here. Then our kids also came with us on H4 visa, and now they have aged out. One
Mm-hmm.
of the kid is now struggling to find an internship. Um, and I mean, definitely there is that pain about finding jobs and internship. But for that kid who has been living for like 15 years, I feel him struggling to actually navigate the immigration part of finding a job does not make a lot of sense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
finding a job is a different thing, but finding a job as an immigrant is a different thing. And
Right.
he should not struggle through the immigration, struggling through the immigration part. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like her story deeply touched me about, like, there is this American dream and everything that people talk about from India, and Indians come, like, because the men in the family, let's say, said, hey, let's move to America, it's a great country. And then now she's talking about the other side, which is like, as a H4 dependent, how it has been a curse on their family, where they are not able to keep the family together, and all their money kind of keeps going into immigration and this and that. So it was a very interesting thing, just to get validation from different people.
Okay. Yeah, so one of the thing you mentioned that a lot of the people don't realize in our community that the things are different. It's not like it used to be like 20 years ago where you can get like a green card in 2 years. And that's like some of the comments I'm seeing as well on the YouTube. Thanks for your comments. So one of the common question they have is that why Indian community at large is not coming together as a whole. There are like I think there are multiple reasons for that, but one of the major one is that there is very little awareness on how things are bad right now. Because the people who are already in the backlog or who are going to be in the backlog, they are not talking about it frequently. So it's like so that's why we are doing this, right? That we are trying to spread the awareness as much as we can and make trying to like make it normal to have this conversation. So hopefully we can spread more awareness, and then like I think that I'm seeing that there are more and more Indian folks are coming together to support us, as there is another thing going on which we might share later. But yeah, there are like more people coming to support us. But as you were there at the summit, it's great that you got a chance to talk to all these people and be our voice there, that okay, this issue is serious, and that's why someone even from like all the way from San Francisco traveled to DC to express the story. So uh, thanks for doing that, and seems like it was a good experience and it was kind of like meaningful to attend that. Any last thing on the that summit that this is important you learn and we should like execute, or something, anything you want to share on the
um,
summit?
Definitely on the point of, like, Indian community not coming together, I think, we come from a culture of extreme competition in India,
Mm-hmm.
and people do not realize it's about winning together. It's not about you moving forward on someone else's foot, but it's about winning together. And America's basic philosophy is actually about winning together, which is like, American dream is about get someone and offer them so much value that they can build a life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the whole idea is. But what Indians have to realize is the power of being together. And I think now Indian leadership is very much changing about it. Like, I keep reading about, like, one consciousness, we gotta like keep moving in that direction. So I think that's one place where I think India is improving, and the Indian community needs to improve a lot. Indian community in here. Now, what happens is, I was like sharing about this. There are different types of mindset that people have. One type of mindset is like, I suffered through this so badly, and I want the next person to also suffer through it. That's a very tragic mindset,
Yeah.
where you are like, I just want the world. to remain the way it is, stagnant, where the world should not improve. There is no progress in the world. So that's like killing the killing any progress. The second one is like, yeah, I faced the problem, I suffered through it, but I mean, I don't want the next person to face it. So yes, it's good to for these things to improve, which is more of like probably a neutral perspective someone has, where they are like, I don't want to contribute too much, but I think it would be good for things to move. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who get their green cards, get their citizenship, move into second category according to me. So the first mindset is people should suffer and continue to suffer the way I have suffered. And that is a mentality of a lot of people too, where Indians are like, I waited for 10 years, you also wait for 10 years. But the second one is like, I mean, this thing should improve, and I want this thing to change. But I mean, I got a green card, I got a citizenship, but
Mm-hmm.
I do not mind
Mm-hmm.
you things improve for you. And the third mindset, which is I think the most important mindset, which is how we should live, is this is just fundamentally wrong, so that's why it should change. It shouldn't change because I need it. It should change because this is wrong. And that's how discrimination should be looked at in the world. um it is right now, yes, it looks like more of Indian community facing it, but what we are facing is not actually Indian community facing it. It's a hit on actually our consciousness of one family together, especially for all these people who believe in coexistence, who believe in living together, who believe in humanity as a whole rather than split into pieces. So it's a big hit actually on those things rather than being an Indian.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I feel that's how this discrimination should be looked at. And it's not about impacting the discrimination impacting Indians, it's about impact, it's also should be equally impacting the Americans too, because discrimination anywhere is not good. I mean, when we talk about Martin Luther King and all, it's not about discrimination faced by black people. We talk about discrimination faced by
Mm-hmm.
everyone in America, and the white
Yes.
people stand with black people because they are like, this is just wrong, you know. And we because one day another category would also face the same discrimination in some form or the other, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's where how I think I look at this issue is like, this is just fundamentally wrong. And going back, Indian community has to start thinking it in this way, that it is not about them as an Indian community, it's about actually bigger than that. It's a discrimination happening, and it should not happen. No human being alive on the planet should should be going through a tragedy where their whole life is
Mm-hmm.
dependent on on the politics of that country in the hands of
Right.
in the hands of the powerful people. And I think that's worth changing.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that we need a huge shift on this mindset, right? And that like we can lead by example. So one of the reason I started doing it is like not because of the green card, right? Because like I've been in this country for almost 15 years now and been through most of the struggle which I had to go through already, right? That if I when I came as a student, if I had got like green card by that time, then my life would have been very easy. That I would have, if I wanted to do study part time, I uh, would have been able to do the part time study and not worry about the fees and all. And then like even like uh, finding an employer who can sponsor and all those things. So the sooner you get the green card, the less struggle you have to go through, right? But been through all those struggle already now. But then now as we have been through, now we know that how bad it is that we had to go through struggle, and those struggle were just based on where we were born. So it's wrong. And because we been through, like we can like fight it better now, because like a lot of people, if they don't have to go through immigration, then they don't know how much wrong it is, right? But because we had to go through, now we know that how bad it is. And it's just like coming up with this mindset that okay, like because we've been through, now we have to make sure that not other people has to go through, at least based on where they are born, right? So That's the huge mindset change we need.
Yeah.
And that's like, if we continue doing that, more and more people will join, right? If we are not doing anything, then like people who already has a green card, or people like even like Americans, if we are not taking action, then they don't have any reason to support us, or like even people who are like not aware about it, right? So uh, the more and more we start doing these things, I guess that there are more and more people who will join us. Anyways, we
Correct.
gonna move. Mm,
I think, yeah, I think I agree. I think the messaging also definitely needs a lot of improvement as we are doing it, and we will know what is resonating with the American audience, especially about this cause, because yes, once we get the right messaging, we would be able to get the support. And a big part of why we probably haven't been able to get this done is that we have not developed the right messaging. And getting the right messaging is an iterative process, according to me.
mm-hmm.
Like removing country cap is one type of messaging. 100 plus years of green card backlog is one kind of messaging, and 1.88 million having in 100 plus is a one type of messaging. I'm not saying any of these are right, but we need to know what is actually
Yeah.
resonating with the American audience.
Mm-hmm.
And we will learn that actually on the way, like through our perception about what actually people understand and who is understanding what, and that will actually get us momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So that is very important for us to continue learning about getting the
Yeah.
right messaging.
It's important to learn and calibrate, So, anyways, we're gonna move on to the next section, which is like how to stay sane while consistently advocating. And just to before that, we just want to say that none of us are therapists or anything, right? We are not health professional, we are not licensed therapists. So we are just speaking about from our personal experiences, that how we manage it and how we able to do it consistently. And if you have something you it helps you, leave it in the comments. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Also, if you haven't done it, like subscribe to the channel and also like the videos. That if you like the video, then it will help to like organically show to more people who are like not aware about this issue. So it will help to reach more people. So if you haven't, do it. And yeah, other than that, okay, so Atal, you said some of the great stories that you were in DC, and you get to hear the story of the kid who came here at 6 months, and now he's 21, he or she is 21, and they are about to leave the country, right? So now, like, let's say that when you heard that story, your heart broke, right? But then, like, when you come home, uh, you if you forget it, then you don't have to think about it and don't experience the pain again. But while it's like one example, that while you are consistently advocating, so you said this story again today, right? So then you might have to like feel that heartbreak again a little bit. So the advocacy is kind of like that thing, right? That if you only think about when, let's say that when your H1B renewal comes, then you think about little bit that, okay, why we have to keep renewing it, right? And then if you like, once your H1B extension is approved, your visa is approved, then you forget about 3 years, right? And then you don't have to think about it. But if you're just doing that, then the change is not going to happen, right? So it's important that we start advocating for this change and start sharing this story. And Atal has been doing it great. So how you do it, right? That like you are so consistent, and while you are consistent talking about this discrimination, doesn't it make you mad? And if it does, then how you handle it?
Uh, from my perspective, um, writing is kind of liberating for me.
Hmm.
And the more I write, the more I feel I am free. It's I don't know how to explain it in like a reality, in like how it works. I don't know how these things work, but by sharing what I feel is how I feel better about my kind of like life. And it's just very much of a therapy for myself to be able to share my thoughts. Now, I think Jensen, the CEO of Nvidia, just said that suffering builds resilience and character and strength. And it's a big statement from a CEO of a
Yeah.
very big company. And he says, I hope you all suffer and go through pain. And that just tells about the maturity of this human being, about, like, suffering is a part of life. We all suffer in different ways, but it is also the source of building your resilience and your character. And for me, that's how it actually has advocacy has turned into improving my mental health actually. Like, if I was going through more of an imposter syndrome in my life, where I was like, I'm not able to live up to my potential, I'm not capable enough, I actually used my story of suffering to help another human being live a better life. Like, if there are 1.8 million people struggling in this, and there are only, let's say, few folks who are talking about it, it just tells that, and while everyone is going through it, by just sharing our story, we help so many human beings live a better life. And I feel that is such a success. Like, these days, I get so many messages on my Twitter that you are such a vocal supporter and advocate for our voices, and I so many of your thoughts resonate with us. It just tells me how much pain I am relieving the world from by just sharing my story, and that is the true liberation in my mind. When I lost my job and I got 60 days to find a new job, and I wrote my blogs, day 0 of 60 of layoff, day 1 of 60, day 2 of 60. I mean, yes, it was very much vulnerable of me to share that I don't have a job, but in a way, that is also the one that got me a job later, and I turned
Right.
all my life around that around that cause. Because I just felt at that moment I didn't feel like I was going through this discrimination, and later I realized, I'm like, if I gotta keep being in this 100 plus years, then I am being vulnerable in this condition for my entire life, and that is where discrimination happens.
So one thing to understand, it's like, if I understand it correctly, is that once you think that something is wrong, rather than just like keeping that in your head, if you write it down, that helps you more. So like either you write it down for your personal journal, or if you just like come and write it on Twitter, then it's just not just in your head; it's out in the world, and that probably helps you relax, I guess. That.
100%. I feel so. Here's my theory about human beings. Human beings are looking for ways to express themselves,
Hmm.
like self express, all of us, all human beings. And work is a way to express ourselves too, one kind of form of self expression. And writing is another form of self expression, painting is another form of self expression, and we all seek those ways for our release of our self expression. And to me, talking about this cause is a way of self expression for me. And yes, I can release it on a personal journal, which is for myself. And Marcus Aurelius kind of wrote his book Meditations for himself, where he talks about his vulnerabilities. But then I saw that when I got access to his book Meditations, I was like, this helped me get out of depression. I'm like, wow, this guy just wrote his own life as a powerful emperor, and it just changed my life. So I was like, when I'm able to share it out with other people, I'm also able to help other people live a better life. And that's why I was like, okay, I gotta keep sharing it instead of keeping it for myself. And yeah, it's like when you share anything, you are exposing yourself to the entire world, and the world will attack you. This is just
Right.
how the world
Yeah.
is. The safest thing to play is being in your own comfort zone, in a little side, just like in a corner. But that's not how you want to live your life, because you do want to improve, you do want to grow. And sharing your ideas, sharing your thoughts, and be open to change and learn from others is a great way to do that.
Yeah, so it's like this is like a lot of, as you say, that trying and calibrating. So this works great for Atal, and somewhat great for me as well. That instead of just keeping in my just keeping in my mind, I just like write it down. I usually don't write in journal, but I just like if I have a thought, I'll just put it on the Twitter. That it helps you organize your thought as well, but helps you relax as well, right? That it's not just in your mind anymore, right? So it's like write it down. So it's like something, if you haven't, like you just try it out and if see if that helps you, right? So
So
That
true. It's kind of funny. I remember some of the ideas that I have posted on Twitter is literally like it just hit me in my mind, and I immediately posted it. And those are some of the most viral tweets I have.
right. But then,
Because
like, let's say that if it's just in your head, then it's different thing. But when you actually sit down to write it, then it helps you organize your thoughts and make gives you clarity as well, right? That it does to me.
yeah, I mean, putting something so concise as an idea is very hard. And you know what I think, what I like about Twitter more than any other platform is me able to have dialogues with different types of people to understand how they are thinking and able to like have those conversations. Like someone just said, let's say they're like, hey, ambitious people are going to continue to exist and they are not able to find places to do that. So that just gives
Right.
me another perspective and able to think through the problem. So I'm like, what I'm doing is thinking along with the community, and that is very powerful to me because then I am not alone just facing the problem. I'm coming up with solution, I'm thinking about the solution. And I mean, one of the ideas that I have been working on, kind of my startup slowly that I'm building, is also in this domain, which is about helping people get EB1A and O1 visa, which is
Hmm.
like in my opinion, like more free visas, freedom visas, and also looking at opening opportunities in other countries for people or able to relocate back to India to help people get more freedom, offer them
Hmm.
community and all. So I think just being able to think through these things with the community is so helpful for me, where I we can all turn our pain into action and drive towards a conclusive result.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's like when you do it, it's inspires other people to participate in that conversation, but like other people to initiate that kind of conversation as well, right? That it inspires or motivates other people. But going back to one thing you mentioned, which I think that the CEO of NVIDIA was saying that the pain about, right? That using your pain. And I remember something like, I guess Sadhguru was saying, right? That all pain are not bad pain. So think about that. That if when we cut our hair, we don't feel pain. So that's why do all kind of crazy things, right? But let's say that if removing your heart, if that wasn't causing the pain, then you would do crazy things and you will get in trouble, right? So that pain, like you feel, it's a good pain that it like restricts you. So in this kind of like setting, it's like as well, right? That let's say something it's like painful, but it's good kind of pain, that if that pain motivates you to take action, that this is the kind of pain, not just for me but a lot of other people are going through this similar kind of pain. So like even if it is like little uncomfortable, taking action will help us all, right? So it's kind of like using your pain to kind of like motivate, you know.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. I think sharing pain definitely helps release pain too. So in a way, able to share, being vulnerable about what you're going through and able to share, it definitely helps other people. So it's a great way. Now, I mean, yeah, we would rather not go through this pain
Yeah,
which we are going through right
we
now.
shouldn't be talking about this on Saturday morning after,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
doing.
Yeah, at the same time, I mean, being we both are like, very optimistic here and about
Hmm.
the future, and we believe there is a better world out there, and that keeps on driving us forward towards from a place of strength,
Hmm.
to build our own resilience, to build our own character from all this suffering that we are going through. And yeah, our goal is like, hey, gotta be a better way so that future generations do not suffer like this. And it in that way, it provides a lot of purpose to the going back to the people who are like struggling with mental health because of this issue. And this is like something which is very underrated, like it's not talked about that much. In my opinion, people are not able to even marry on time or have a family because of this problem. Like, I can't imagine someone like able to say that, hey, I want to get married because now I have green, because green card
Hmm.
at least provides you with like clarity on where you can live, at
Right.
least where you can live. Here you are working in one country, you do not have a green card, and you do not know where you're gonna go, and
Right.
you are like trying to find a partner, and you do not know which country partner you want to find, and you do not know whether you would be able to go back and when you would be have to go back. And here people who actually have partners and have kids, they're like, I don't know if I can stay here or not, because my kids might not be able to stay and the kids are growing up here. So I mean, I think there are like some serious mental health challenges which no one is really talking about, which is happening right now because of this tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think the just like the more we have conversation and dialogue about it, the more we realize how it impacts people's life. And especially my problem is like, if some of the leaders of the world who are here to create value, who are very high skilled, educated, they are going through this tragedy, then I mean, I don't know how we're gonna help other people live a better life too, because we
Mm-hmm.
are all about helping each other and helping other people too. So
Right.
it's very hard to believe what we are going through. And I mean, there is a big challenge happening here. And I mean, the more we speak about it, the more we are able to release that pain and be able
Mm-hmm.
to get all of us together on the same lines, and lead that will lead to change.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like a lot of people, their life decisions are dependent upon it, and it's like already like a lot of people has these kids which are aging out, and a lot of people doesn't have like job mobility and all those things, right? So it's like it creates a lot of stress, and then uh, if you like advocate for the change, then you have to consistently think about it, right? So that's like very challenging, but like we have to do it, right? So it's like to end it for us and end it for the people who are coming. So the one way I think I do it is that it's important to have a hope, right? That first you have to have a hope that something is going to change, and I tell people that this thing, only reason it won't change if it's not because like a lot of lawyers are against it, a lot of like employers are against it, not because like Congress is not taking action. The only reason it won't change if we believe that it's not going to change, because if we have a belief that it's not going to change, then we're not going to take action, and if we don't take actions, then nothing is going to happen, right? So that's one way. One Not one way, but it's like one part of the equation is that first you have to have a hope, but also then like once you have the hope, what kind of actions you can take, right? So some people likes writing, you can start writing. Some people like talking, they can start podcasts. Some people like also like you can start calling your member of the Congress and all this, right? Depending on what you like. So once you have a hope, you figure it out what kind of like actions you can take. But then also it's very important that once you decide what your action is, then with that action you don't expect any outcome, right? That if you have outcome expectation, as in the Gita says, that then you get more stress. That let's say, just to give you an example of doing this live stream, right? That our intentions were good, and we were like, okay, like let's say let's have this conversation on this issue, and hopefully some people will get something out of it. But if I had this expectation that I'm going to do live stream and then at least 500 people are going to join, then it would disappoint me hugely of doing this. So it's like you decide on your action and then take that action regardless, that this is the best action I can take according to the resources I have, right? So that's like deciding what action you can take according to your availability and resources, but then not associate any expectation regarding the outcome, right? That just take the action because it's the right thing to do. But also it's also important to have the hope, right? Otherwise you won't feel that motivation to take the action.
Yeah, and in the end, definitely have hope. Also, plan your life proactively. Like, also, never, I mean, I think people who are struggling the most are the ones who are like, I don't want to go back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when you have this mindset that my home is, I don't want to go back to India, is when you struggle the most and you are like, oh no, I can't live there. It's not gonna be same. The moment you change your thinking about like, hey, yes, India is growing very fast.
Right.
We are so privileged right now that we are not from a country which is actually struggling. Like, there are so many countries in the world which are struggling, and our country growing as the best economy right now in the world
Yeah.
speaks volumes. It just
Mm-hmm.
tells that our people have already always been on the right path. Like, we are leading from the front. We are leading from the front right now as one of the best economy, the fastest growing economy. especially with 1.4 billion people. It's not easy to align 1.4 billion people in one direction. Forget about anything. It's so, I mean, I'm just so proud as an Indian here that my community is doing so great, and we are continuing to even show path to America right now. If you think about it, what we are doing with this cause is
Right.
actually showing
Yeah.
path to
Uh-huh.
America. That guys, like, this has to, this is not right, you know. We are helping improve the democracy of America. And I think that's how we should be thinking about it. And we have to make this cause more and more an American cause, is how I'm thinking about, like, changing the messaging. It's not our cause, it's an American cause.
Hmm.
It is, we are only here for a very temporary period of time. America is the
Right.
one that is losing.
Yeah.
We are here to give and share ourselves fully, while America is putting restrictions. And we are, as human beings, we do not like to be restricted, and we will create value wherever we will want to create. Like this, you don't really need a lot of skills in this world. We also we feel like that. But think about, like, me, I was not a writer, you know. Writing is so new to me. I just started doing it in the last 1 to 2 years. But dude, I just like keep sharing what I believe in, and I know what people like and not, and I just learn and calibrate myself on that way, you know, on the journey itself. So if I can write like this now, which is getting a lot of attention, the same way anyone can do it. You just
Hmm.
gotta keep speaking the truth and what you believe in. Something will resonate one day. It's the game of persistence, it's the game of resilience. So I think even to people who are like, hey, I don't know how I can contribute, writing and contributing and adding value to other people's thought is a great way. Like, in the last, I feel like, couple of months, I've seen so many new people coming up and actually sharing ideas on, let's say, I tweet or you tweet. And
Hmm.
we always like to help bring amplify their voice too, you know, because we are like,
Right.
okay, we
Uh-huh.
got to help each other, and this is our community movement more than individual movement. And it's great to see these new writers coming in who are equally passionate about it, and able to, and think about these people, like, they were struggling through the same issue, but they never got a platform to share, and now we have a platform to share and work together. I feel it's a great, we have created so much momentum, we have got so much energy together, and we are in such a safe spot. We have a great country back home where we can live,
Right.
where
Uh-huh.
we are trying to improve another country and fight
Uh-huh.
for it, for that it has better future. I mean, I think I just feel very privileged to be in this condition, to be able to bring this much massive amount of change in human consciousness and taking us forward in the right direction.
Yeah, so I guess you made a two great point, right? That India is developing very rapidly, and the number of opportunities are insane, right, compared to here. So that's one of the thing I say that what creates stress is that if you attach your identity with the United States, that if I'm something if I'm in the United States, but I'm nothing if I have to move out, right? So that kind of mindset will create a stress, because then you are like always afraid about like not getting your H1B renewed, or like losing your jobs and that kind of thing. So if you are like not have that mindset, but also like you literally have that skills, that even if I have to move to India, I would be able to do some great things, because of the number of the opportunities that significantly helps with this stress and all that you are not worried about, right? That moving back if you have to. And it's like we are not saying that move back, but like just in case, if you are prepared, then it helps significantly with like not worrying about a lot of these things. So it's same, right? That you are like most committed to taking actions, like whatever you need to do, right? Get your H1B, apply for your, like, increase your skills, look for better jobs, get your H1B renewal. But like you are also list attached, that even if none of those things happen, you're gonna be fine, like even if you have to move to India. And like another
100%.
thing you said,
Mhm.
that this is America's cause, right? And I truly believe that this is good for America, because right now if you see that the people in this EB2 EB3 category, while so many people, highly qualified people, uh, highly educated people who are in the United States living for a long time, they are in the backlog, never be able to vote. Meanwhile, someone who has never been here, they are able to qualify in this category. And also like some of the countries they are coming from are like officially United States, they have this country on the list of state sponsored terrorist countries. So people from this kind of countries, they are able to qualify, right? So is it fixing this? I think that it's greatly beneficial to the United States than any other country, and also it's like the kind of job are associated with this kind of visas are like very like high demanding jobs, and like sometimes even cost lives, right? Even doctors and engineers and all those are doing like important work are kind of associated with that kind of jobs. So it's like it's very dangerous for America to recruit people on this kind of jobs based on where they are born. So I think I wholly agree that this is more for America than any other country.
Yeah, and I think we should never forget we are the talent,
Hmm.
and we came. I mean, that is the cause. The cause is we are talented, so we need to get the green card, and we should not be waiting for 100 plus years. So we should never forget that we are the talent, because that is the cause. Like, it's very hard to, it is the same thing. What we are fighting for is that we are educated, smart, qualified, and we should get a green card and not wait for 100 plus years. So never stop believing that you are actually the talent, because that is what you are fighting for. And also we have to continue believing that if we can come here one time, we can come here anytime, if that's what we want to do. But if we do not have freedom, our skills are going down, we are stuck in our life,
Hmm.
and then we will have a bad future too. So it's, we are fighting in a direction about we are the talent, and if we can come one time, we can come another time. Okay,
Hmm.
so definitely we can do that. I think one
But
question I see is, do you have a plan to meet Vivek? I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy is doing great. He speaks a lot of truth. I would love to meet him and just like take his thoughts, because I think he brings a very much of an America first mindset, and about bringing talent. He has also talked about H1B visa, which is like he wants to get rid of it. And I'm 100% with him on that. We got to create a better merit based system. So a lot of his ideas are very, very good. And in whichever way we can help and take his support to get it done, would love to participate.
yeah, exactly. If we get the opportunity, yeah, why not? Like, I am willing to meet anyone who wants to support our cause, and if we get opportunity to make it to Vivek, that would be even better, right? So, like, it's like let's say that if you want to meet him, I think that when he was campaigning in Iowa, that was the easiest opportunity to meet him because, like, he did like lot of town halls and lot of like events at bars and all those kind of places. And now I think that if you want to meet him, I think that getting an appointment with him, that's hard. But if you go to the campaign trails, and he would be like, yes, campaigning for Trump, right? So if you go to his rally and try to meet him there, I think that's possible. So if that's something we can do, we will definitely try. Anyways, I think that Atal has a hard stop at 10. So, Atal, if you want to drop, that's fine. Thank you for doing all the advocacy you are doing. Thank you for traveling and taking a lot of actions and encouraging and motivating all of us to take action as well. And thank you for joining and sharing your thoughts. You know,
Definitely.
so
Thank you so
yeah.
much for having me. Great discussion. Looking forward to collaborating further. Thank you, everyone.
Yes,
Bye.
thanks. So yeah, guys. So we gonna. I have said that I'm gonna share some updates related to the bills. So I think that we have like two bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, to fix this issue, right? So the House, I haven't seen any progress in the Senate side. That it still has three co-sponsors, but this month the HR 6542 got, let's see, I think that this month we have five new co-sponsors. So all the work you guys are doing, it's like working. So yeah, if you are not doing it, like please reach out to your member of the Congress, especially in the House, like your representative, that they co-sponsor the bill. If you want to do like one easiest way to reach out to them is that area 51 casts, they have created this petition. So I just posted that petition in the chat. So that petition, if you can sign it, that petition you sign it, but it also sends letter to president, then your two senators from your state, and your rep based on your zip code, right? So it will send this petition to all those people. So you are like already asking for support. But if you want to call them, yeah, call them, because you can easily find their number. If you need help on that, let me know, and I'll help you that how to get their contact information. So that's the progress on the bill. Anyways, like let me know your thoughts, like was it helpful, what you think about anything we talked about. Is that something you do which helps you to manage the stress related to this issue? So let us know. Or if you have any questions in the you want us to address in the future conversation, leave it in the comments. Probably, I'm not sure this comments stays there forever, this like live stream chat, but once this live stream ends, then that video stays forever. So put it in the comment there, or reach out to me on Twitter, so we will be able to address those questions. Anyways, thanks for joining. I know that it's Saturday, but still you guys join, and that helps. That is like very motivating for us to keep doing this. Otherwise, like if anyone missed this live stream, it's gonna be there forever. So if anyone you think that might help this kind of conversation, please share it with them. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week with another topic which is kind of helpful to our cause. All right. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a great weekend.